All right, everybody, welcome to the Ivan Herrera Show. I am so excited that you are here. We're doing a special live stream. We're doing a mock draft, and this is the first one I'm doing in the off season, so it's going to be exciting because what we're going to be doing is I'm doing your very simple 10-team PPR draft, and the reason behind it is because I want to give everyone an early introduction to what ADP currently has our players at. What we'll do is want to make sure that my audio is just fine. Okay, so everything sounds really good. If you're on the stream, let me know is up and running. Now, okay, so if you want to tune in and join our stream, I put the link of how you can join our mock draft within my Discord. That it's free for you to join. The information can be found in my description. So be sure to head over and let's go ahead and get this thing started. So let me go ahead and show you guys what we're doing today. We have our first live 2024 mock draft. Again, this is going to be a 10-team PPR mock draft. Let me get you guys up in here. Here we go. I see a few guys already on here. Oh, sweet. This is exciting stuff. I see. Good to see you guys on here. See my guy, Mr. Howard Chang. Well, we know, guys, feel free and let me know who's on, but this would be really fun. I'm going to go ahead and start it in a few minutes. And what I also wanted to go over is I'm still tinkering with my PPR rankings. So I'm going to have those ready for you guys so that way you guys can go ahead and see what I have to say as far as player rankings. I also am now selling my PPR rankings. So if you're looking to actually build out your own projection sheet, all that information can be found on how you can acquire that. The only kicker is that you have to provide any kind of donation, whether it's through CashApp, whether it's through Venmo, and I will DM you directly my template that I use to help build out my projections. That way you can grow and level up in your fantasy football projection game. So yeah, we got 15 rounds. This is going to be a doozy. This is not going to be your typical startup draft where it's 3 rounds. We're going to blitz through it. I'm going to give some reactions to it. Should be a lot of fun. So let me go ahead and get it started. Let me let everyone know how we are looking. Let me go ahead and engage in the chat over here. Okay, everyone. Let me make sure letting everyone know we are going to start. So let me see. We got a few spots already claimed. We got the number 3 spot. I'm picking out of the number 6. And the reason why I'm going with the number 6 is because it's not the most popular pick. I tend to like to pick either at the top at 1 or at 12. So that way I can get 2 picks. And it looks like that's what Mr. Daniel Dixon is going with over here. That dude, Danny D. Funds Dead is going at the number 8th pick. And the boy is there at the number 7. So it should be a lot of fun. I'll go ahead and actually someone just told me right now they're joining in. So let me go ahead and give it a second. But it's going to be exciting stuff. And, you know, while we're on this, let us react. Jared Goff getting that well-earned extension there in Detroit. This guy was someone that has found success after getting traded to the from the Los Angeles Rams to the Lions, has now been phenomenal with the Detroit Lions. So this could be a lot of fun. Again, if you are looking to join the mock draft, let me drop the link in here for you guys to join. There is the Sleeper app. It's pinned. And it's right there. So just go over to the comments. Be sure to first like the video. Help out with the algorithm. Really means a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and start the draft in a few minutes. I'm seeing that we are filling in some more of these draft slots. And have some fun here. So let me go ahead and load it up. Keep it going and start. All right, so we see CD Lamb go off the board. Oh, it's my turn. Then followed up with Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can't believe he's still here, so I'm going to go ahead and take myself. I like to go wide receiver. I see Jamar Chase looking right at me. He's like one of my favorite players. But I also like Breece Hall right there as the second running back off the board. And that's what, but then I also see Bijan right there too. Holy smokes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go for Bijan just because I want to see how my roster shapes out. See Jamar Chase taking there. I was going to take Chase, but it was hard for me to not pass up on Bijan there. Puka Nacua goes off the board, and then we got Breece Hall. And then was due up for 2 straight picks. It goes A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. Then we see Garrett Wilson go off the board. Now we have my boy Jason back on the clock. He took Puka Nacua. We'll see what happens next with this one. He goes Marvin Harrison Jr. We have the first rookie off the board. So already you can see wide receivers are a premium here, going really, really quick. The first 10 picks, 7 of them were wide receivers. We've still yet to see Travis Kelce. For a few seasons, he was always going there as the first heading off the board. Now we see Saquon Barkley at the 204 taken, which now gives me a couple picks. Now, I did already get a running back at Bijan Robinson. And when I'm looking at the landscape, I don't like to really force any picks here. So, of course, naturally, I do want to go wide receiver. But I see Jonathan Taylor is up here as well as Kyron Williams. And I expect both of them to do really, really well. I do like Jonathan Taylor in this system already with Indianapolis. Kyron Williams, I think, is going to still get a lot of touches, a lot of looks. I don't care if they got Blake Corum. So I'm going to go ahead and double up at running back and take Jonathan Taylor to have Bijan and JP to essentially level out my running back needs for the first 2 rounds. I probably will not consider going running back now for a few rounds. So now let's see if I can really leverage the depth at wide receiver and maybe even level up and see what comes at me at quarterback and even tight end. So right after Jonathan Taylor, we saw Drake London go off the board. We also saw Kyron Williams right after go to team 4, which is the CPU. Now we have my boy over here. I wonder if this is Cole. I can't tell if this is Cole or not. If anyone knows, please let me know because I do not know if this is my boy Cole or not. But here we go. Let's see what he goes. We already went Tyreek Hill. Then we see Chris Olave go. Then shortly after, we see Sam Laporta, Devon Achane, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, and my boy, looks like No Penate is back on. Team 4 goes with Josh Jacobs. We see Josh Allen go at the 305, which is the first quarterback taken. And now I'm at the 306. And the players that we have right now, we have Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore. Pretty solid wide receivers. I'd be happy with any of them being wide receiver 1. Probably more so happy with Stephon Diggs or DJ Moore. It's amazing that ADP actually has Nico Collins above Stephon Diggs. I would have imagined it would have been Stephon Diggs vacating most of the attention and love. It looks like the projections have Stephon Diggs actually slated to have less points by at least 10 points. We see Travis Kelce right there as well. I'm going to go ahead and go for DJ Moore. He's been one of my favorite players for years. So I'm going to go ahead and click on DJ Moore and see how it shapes from there. So, yeah, pretty interesting. We got Bijan Robinson at the first round pick that I got. My second round pick was Jonathan Taylor. And then we went with DJ Moore as my first wide receiver. So I feel pretty good. Typically, I like to balance out my first 4 picks. So far, if I'm looking at the landscape, my favorite roster, man, it's hard to ever disregard. But look at that CeeDee Lamb, Devon Achane. If you're thinking about like best ball combos, Devon Achane and CeeDee Lamb definitely make a huge combination considering that both guys can put up points in bunches for your fantasy football team. Oh, I'm liking Daniel's team as well. Oh, that's so deadly. So here's who Daniel has. He went with A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Trey McBride as his tight end 1, and then went Jalen Hurts to complete the step with A.J. Brown. And then team 9 is really wide receiver heavy after going with Breece Hall, went with Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, and Jalen Waddle. Jason is essentially kind of went with 0 RB there with going with Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Stephon Diggs. And then I think Derrick Henry is a perfect 0 RB hybrid. Whether if you're planning to not go running back with your first few picks, like your first 3 rounds, I think Derrick Henry is a perfect RB1 for that build because they're in Baltimore. He's going to get so much looks. And then shortly after, we see Jamar Chase be now accompanied with Nico Collins and Malik Neighbors for my boy David, who also has Barkley as his running back. So let's see. It's hard to ignore Travis Kelce there. I mean, it's crazy that Travis Kelce is now gone that low. So I'm going to go ahead and take him there. He's still, in my opinion, the tight end one. And again, this is not for any kind of dynasty or for keeper. This is just redraft, which is why I wanted to throw that wrench in the works there. So I'm going to go ahead and be happy with Travis Kelce as one. Then shortly after, we see Devon Achane, Rashad White. And we have pick number 3 right now getting ready to make the 8th selection of the 4th round. Now, what I'm looking for now in the 5th round, there's a few players that are catching my eye. I could go quarterback here, and I like to typically wait in the 4th round. So I like how Daniel patiently waited because he essentially got aces at each of his positions, at wide receiver, running back, and tight end, and then got Jalen Hurts. So let's see what happens afterwards. So we see a couple of Buccaneers following. So we got Devontae Smith, and we have Rashad White, Mike Evans, Patrick Mahomes, Michael Pittman Jr., Isaiah Pacheco, DK Metcalf, CJ Stroud, T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, and now I'm back up for another pick. And I like Lamar Jackson there. I also like the fact that there's a couple of skill position players that I like. So, for example, I see Mark Andrews, but I already have Kelce, so I'm good there. Tank Dell, James Cook, Keenan Allen. I'm a little worried about him only because he's missed a handful of games in back-to-back seasons. I do like Zay Flowers. I would much rather feel comfortable knowing that I have an ace at my quarterback position, especially one that has the cheat codes. And if you haven't already known already, I'm going with Lamar Jackson. And I don't typically like to go back-to-back with my tight ends and quarterbacks. I like to wait a while so that way I can really level up on the skill position players. But I feel like in most seasons, we're seeing a lot of receivers be very deep, and I would much rather have the positional advantage when it comes to my other rosters as well. Let me make sure you guys can see how this is playing out. Okay, yeah, everyone can see just fine. Cool. I want to make sure I wasn't blocking anyone's view. I'll keep a close eye on that. All right, so shortly after Lamar Jackson gets off the board, we see James Cook, Anthony Richardson, Mark Andrews, and now we have Daniel up for 2 picks. And if we're looking at the roster build here, I do love what David has going on. He's now balanced out his roster where he has essentially all of his flex spots as well as his starting wide receiver and running back positions essentially locked down. And then I do like Daniel's build as well here where he has Tank Dell as his second wide receiver to go along with Jahmyr Gibbs as well as Joe Mixon. Plus, you already have Jalen Hurts who's going to get you that upside with the rushing ability. Plus, we know that McBride has a role in this offense that will be one that will provide a lot of fantasy value for your fantasy rosters this season. Now, after that, we see Team 9 get Zay Flowers. So we're seeing heavy wide receivers for that roster. No running back outside of just Breece Hall. So you can see there like a semi version of 0 RB there. And this is PPR, so of course wide receivers are going to be by a little bit extra. Let's see what happens here with my guy David. He has Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, and we just complimented him for having Barkley as well as Cook. Now he adds another Buffalo Bill with Kincaid. So now I feel really good because now I can essentially round out my flex spot right here. I know that the ADP currently has Rashee Rice here at the next pick after Keenan Allen. I do like Keenan Allen as a flex spot there for myself, but let's look to see who else we got. We have Rashee Rice, we have Kenneth Walker, George Pickens. And you know what? Surprisingly enough, I believe that George Pickens is getting a little underrated. And I know there was a lot of noise with what happened with him last season, but I wouldn't find him there as a player that can really have boom weeks for my roster. Rashee Rice, I'm going to fade on, and I'm going to be really vigilant on how low he goes because he's obviously going to be getting a suspension pretty soon. But let me go ahead and see what else we got. We have Roma Dunze right there. So this is more of an upside pick. We're assuming that he's going to get a lot of looks in this offense. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get the rookie here. I want to get at least another wide receiver. Oh, actually, I'm having 2 Chicago Bears, so it's a good thing I paused here. I'll have DJ Moore and I'll have Roma Dunze. Let me go ahead and go with Kenneth Walker. So I'm going to, rather not Kenneth Walker, George Pickens, I'm sorry. That way I at least have, I don't know, but I always feel weird about having 2 of the same players on the same roster. So shortly after, we see Keenan Allen and Rashee Rice get off the board. And we're on to, I don't know how to say that name. Nope, Nate. So I'm assuming Nate is his name. Doing deductive reasoning here to find out what one's name is. All right, making sure we're solid. Okay, cool. I'll move the screen up a little bit as it continues to progress along, so that way you guys can see the draft. So he took CJ Stroud. He essentially has all of his wide receivers on lock. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes. I'm going to guess he's going to go with Kenneth Walker or even Alvin Kamara. I know that with those guys, who to go with? He went with Aaron Jones. Okay, running back went there. So now we're seeing a host of running backs go off the board with Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Alvin Kamara. Now we're seeing Roman Jose. And let me move this a little up so everyone can see. And the cool thing is you can see the lineup still. Make sure it's not blocking. All right, cool. Yeah, you can see just fine. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and go to mine. So, okay. So I already went and got Bijan, JT, DJ Moore, Kelsey, Jackson, Pickens. Let's see. Who should I go for here? So we see George Kittle. I'm going to pass on. Jordan Addison. It is intriguing to me to get David Montgomery because he got a lot of usage there in Detroit, and he really maximized that role that Jamal Williams saw a lot of success in the year prior, where he got a plethora of touchdowns. So let me see. Should I go wide receiver here? I do like Jordan Addison. He did bump up, in my opinion, a little bit, considering that JJ McCarthy is now with the Vikings. How much time do I have? 50 seconds left. Let me make sorry, I'm going too low here. Okay, I'm going to go with Jordan Addison. I think he's going to have a good uptick this upcoming season. I know some people are talking about fading him because of the fact that he's getting a little overvalued, but I like Addison where he's at. I'm going to go with Jordan Addison. I feel really good with him being my third wide receiver there behind DJ Moore and George Pickens, and also a pass catcher that I love with Travis Kelce. So we see Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Reed, Chris Godwin. I love Chris Godwin there at the 8th round. Really underrated. Love that Joe Burrow pick there as well. Xavier Worthy is now off the board. So we're seeing some more wide receivers off the board here. Some younger ones, obviously, with rookie Xavier Worthy there. And Jalen Reed, second-year wide receiver. Let's see what happens next. Let me start getting ready for mine. See who David gets, but see who's on the board. So you know what? I love Evan Ingram where he's going at right here. If you're in the 8th round and you see that Kyle Pitts, Kelsey, Kincaid, Kittle, and Andrews are off the board, man, do not feel bad whatsoever because Evan Ingram has been a PPR monster, and he had 114 receiving by the receptions last year. And it's amazing because it was like the quietest I've ever seen someone do that in the NFL. But let's go ahead and focus on my pick here. So I know that with Rashee Rice out, I expect to see Hollywood Brown get an uptick. I also think that Ramondre Stevenson is a tad underrated. And I get that we saw a lot of reduced production come out of that New England offense. And there isn't much that we're looking forward to that will make you think that it's going to be elite. But Ramondre is someone that can be utilized in the receiving game. And because of that, I'll feel great with him being my third running back behind Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. So let me go ahead and click and go ahead and get Ramondre Stevenson here. Shortly after, we see David Montgomery. I was really thinking about getting him there, but I just want to maximize on getting running backs that can also provide some PPR value. And Ramondre is that, in my opinion, provides that really well, especially here in the 8th round. We see Evan Ingram now get off the board there for Team 4. Now we have Nate up next. And his roster, let's take a look at his roster. So he has added another wide receiver here after getting Tyreek Hill in the first round, Olave, Etienne at running back, Evans, CJ Stroud at quarterback, Aaron Jones as his RB2, and now has had 2 back-to-back wide receivers with Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley. And then we saw Hollywood Brown go off the board. Dak Prescott, DeAndre Hopkins. We see Najee Harris go as low as the 9th round. I wonder how far John Warren's going to be right behind him on this one. So then after that, we see Jordan Love go there at the 9th round. Tony is an appropriate range too for Jordan Love. I think this is a great range, especially if you're looking to hold off on quarterback. Now we're more than halfway through this mock draft. We see Toy Pollard go in the 9th round, and now I'm back up again. And I feel really good with my starters. And I'm going to now start thinking about, okay, who are guys that I would be really happy with that could provide some good upside, considering I'm very happy with my picks right now. And the guys that I'm looking forward to drafting are going to be now like your rookies, your second-year wide receivers, running backs that are getting a little bit undervalued because they were hurt the year before. And a player that fits that bill for me perfectly is actually Javonte Williams. So I'm going to go ahead, and I already got Stevenson. Let me go ahead and get myself another wide receiver. And I see Deontay there as well as Brian Thomas. Now, I love Deontay there for Bryce Young. I believe Bryce Young will make a reemergence this upcoming season. And I want to get Brian Thomas here, but I just love Deontay in this new system, and I believe that he's the kind of wide receiver that can help elevate Bryce Young. So I'm going to go ahead and get Deontay Johnson here. And just to make sure, I'm kind of a stickler on this, want to make sure you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see just fine. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and go back here to this. Okay, great. So we have David back up. See his roster. Sorry, this thing is acting funky. I want to see where David's picking. It's not letting me pull it up. Okay, he went with Brian Thomas. Let's see who Jason gets next. So yeah, right now, if I'm looking at my roster, I feel really good about it. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Bijan, JT, DJ Moore, George Pickens, Jordan Addison, Ramondre Stevenson. And then, of course, I feel really good with Kelsey there as my tight end. Okay, then we see Ladd McConkey. We see Brock Bowers and Daniel's upper 2 picks. Austin Eckler went in the 9th round. It's crazy how much he's fallen off since last year. That could be a huge upside pick for him late in that 9th round spot, especially there with the rookie running back. You imagine that the dump offs are going to be really beneficial for this rookie, knowing that he has someone as elite as Eckler. I believe that what happened last year was more of a fluke, and I'd like to imagine that he still has some tread on the tires left. Let me see. We saw JSN. I'm a little nervous about JSN. The reason why I'm actually a little bit down on JSN is because of the fact that Seattle just restructured Tyler Lockett's contract this offseason. And that gives me the impression that he's still going to be involved in this offense. And that gives me reservations about JSN's productivity and how he can project to have a good season. So, I mean, I feel a little meh about it, but considering that Daniel's getting him much later, he's not getting him as his main option or even as wide receiver 2. He's getting him, as you can see here, behind A.J. Brown, Tank Dell, Jalen Reed, and Chris Godwin. JSN is going to be utilized on this roster, at least in my opinion, as a fill-in spot for a bye week, or if there's any kind of injury, JSN is a safe bet to be able to cover that. So we'll see what Jason goes with. After here, he has 2 straight tight ends. Now, this is intriguing to me because Jason went Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison. Now, Puka Nacua is going to be solid. I'm not worried about him. Marvin Harrison's a rookie, and we know that he is the top prospect outside of Caleb Williams in this draft. So I expect some good things out of him, but he's still a rookie. And then you have Stephon Diggs, and you went Derrick Henry. Then I do love Anthony Richardson there at the 5th round spot, especially considering that he was averaging basically 20 points per game in fantasy while he was, playing. And we saw George Kittle, Xavier Worthy, then we saw Brock Bowers. So there's like a tight end sandwich there. I don't know if that's necessarily the best strategy, but he at least secures himself a tight end that can be productive in Las Vegas. I mean, I'm sure not many of us Brock Bowers fans were too excited about where he went. And believe it or not, I just got sniped. That's exactly where I wanted to go. I wanted to get Javonte Williams there. Someone I think is a little bit underrated right now. Someone that you can get probably on the cheap in Dynasty, considering that people, of course, have their reservations, considering that he is coming off an injury season, but someone that was at least on the field and someone I would have won. I wanted to get there. So, okay, I have about 4 position players left to draft before I go to kickers and defense. Let me see who I can get here. I'm going to hold off tight end. I'm going to hold off on Caleb Williams there at quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and again, go for upside. I see Zach Moss there, and I think he has a safe floor there in Cincinnati. He's going to essentially fill in that Joe Mixon role. And Zach Moss is someone that found success also filling in for Jonathan Taylor. So I would be excited getting Zach Moss here. I see Dallas Goedert at tight end there. Be great to have him behind Travis Kelce on my roster. Then you see Trey Benson and Jonathan Brooks. And right now, I want to, again, my strategy here is to get as much upside, considering that these guys aren't my week 1 starters as of now, because we, of course, schedule is going to be released tomorrow, and that could change depending on matchups. But I'm going to go ahead. Trey Benson's calling my name. So is Jonathan Brooks there. And I already got, yeah, you know what? I'm now somewhat tilting, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I'm going to go ahead and get Jonathan Brooks. I want to get Jonathan Brooks here. Let me add him. Jonathan Brooks, welcome to my... Okay, so then shortly after we see Nick Chubb and we see the aforementioned Trey Benson go there at the 10:07. And now we have Nate up for a pick, and then we'll blitz it right back to him, considering that the first 2 teams are CPUs. So that should at least make things rather quick. Okay, I'm just getting alerts here. Okay, I wanted to make sure that someone was asking me how to get to the link, but it's currently closed because we are now drafting. But yeah, again, this is the first mock draft of the year. I'm going to do another one. I want to do another one for Dynasty, but those are really long. Those rookie startup ones can be really, rather those Dynasty startup ones can be really long. So I'm going to probably reserve that for a special weekend if someone really wants it, but I like doing redraft ones. Okay, now here we go. We see Njoku, Zach Moss, Caleb Williams, Curtis Samuel, Jake Ferguson, and Nopnit is back on here as well. And Njoku was a tight end 1 for the 10th round. It's not a bad pick at all. So you can see that tight end probably is a lot deeper than it's been in a couple of seasons, because typically it's always been Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. And then we see Team 4 get Brock Purdy. Then we see Dallas Goedert go off the board. And now let's see what we got. You know, I think this is appropriate too. I was looking at right now the ADP for TJ Hawkinson, and this for me feels right, considering that he's coming off an injury, a late knee injury there in the season, December, didn't get surgery until January. So this for me makes me feel that this is a good pick here, as far as rather a good spot for him to be at. I wouldn't want to get him. That's why I got Travis Kelce. I feel good there at tight end. So let me go ahead and tackle a wide receiver, just so I can get some more depth on my roster. And I would want to get someone like Romeo Doubs, because we see what's already been proven versus maybe a few question marks like that we see here with Adonai Mitchell and Keon Coleman. But I would much rather get those guys, because, again, I want to be able to at least get as much upside as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with Adonai Mitchell here. I know that Joshua Downs still has a role in that offense there. We also have the fact that Anthony Richardson isn't much of a passer as of yet. That will make you feel comfortable with him being able to provide fantasy upside for any wide receivers, because we saw what Minshew was able to do when he filled in for Richardson. We saw that Pittman was able to do great. We saw a boost in his fantasy uptick. So we'll see what happens now with Dave, who's on right now. We have a few picks left, and this will round out our first live mock draft of the season. I'm really excited because this will be the first of many. I plan to do one at least once a week. So you'll see a video where I go over maybe a few players, where I'll spotlight a few players that I'm looking at, guys I'm avoiding. And from there, I'll do a mock draft. That way we can have something collaborative. And if you want to ever get updated on how you can be a part of these mock drafts, I'll have all the information always posted on my Discord. My Discord is free to join. I have a few different servers on there, whether it's Start Sit Advice. Obviously, that's not active right now because we're not into the season yet. But I also have another one there where we just have a general conversation, and that's where I'll typically have all those links for you, is in that general server. All right, cool. We see Keon Coleman, who I was thinking about getting there as well. I like Dave's team. He has 2 rookie wide receivers there, especially as his non-main starters, which is great because if they blow up, he's got some good value there late. See, after Coleman goes, we see Jacoby Myers, TJ Hawkinson, Tajay Spears, Pat Freiermuth. We see Tua Tagovailoa. We'll see who Jason goes with next. Okay, so right now, if I'm looking at my roster, I love my balance between wide receivers and running back. Jared Goff goes off the board. I could start tackling. Okay, we see Jaden Daniels go off the board too with Dave. I'm going to go ahead now And I'm really happy there with Romeo Dobbs, but I also see Cortland there because look, if you look at this, you're not gonna probably. Oh, let me actually make sure that you guys can see the board. Let me know if you guys can't. I can always adjust. So yeah, you guys can see it. Okay, good. So right here, yeah, you're seeing guys like Leggett. You're seeing. I don't even see Troy Franklin. Was he already drafted? Let me see. Let me do that. No, he hasn't been drafted. Yeah. So okay. So Cortland for me is that like late target wide receiver one, because we don't know how they're going to utilize Bo Nix and how these wide receivers are going to be utilized in this offense. So I'd feel good getting Cortland Sutton here as well. You also see Tyler Lockett, someone who I said is going to have a role in this offense. We see Jameson Williams. So if I'm choosing, and none of these players truly excite me, but again, this is my 12th round pick. So this is a thing that's going to break my roster. So let's go for upside here. And I think Romeo Dobbs takes a little bit of a hit this upcoming season. I'm going to go ahead and draft. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton here. I know it's not the sexiest of picks, but shortly after we see Romeo Dobbs, we see Mike Williams go off the board as well. And I almost forgot they went to the Jets, so it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him there, considering that Garrett Wilson is there as a wide receiver one. And then you already have Breece Hall there, so there's some weapons that they can definitely feel comfortable with. Okay, so this is not going to be my last position pick. We see Gus Edwards, Tyler Lockett, Dalton Schultz, Jameson Williams, Brian Robinson. And this is typically where I start to look at like, okay, which handcuffs can I start getting here? But I kind of went the opposite route. I went wide receivers because I'm happy with my 3 running backs. But let me see which ones I can secure because I also I got four running backs. I got Jonathan Brooks, Ramondre Stevenson, JT, as well as Bijan Robinson. So okay, let's see what we got here next. Wow, Justin Herbert is still on the board. Trevor Lawrence too. Wow, it's just crazy what a year can do. So okay, let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I was gonna go ahead and get Zach Charbonnet, but he didn't pan out all that well as a handcuff last season, and I don't think it's because he's not good. I think he's solid. I would much rather get my hands on Blake Corum because he has a similar skill set to that of Kyron Williams. If anything were to happen to him, I can see Sean McVay definitely utilizing this young rookie as a weapon on this offense. So give me Blake Corum. Because after this, I'm going to go get my defense as well as get my kicker. It's not letting me pick him. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me actually press the drop button. There we go. Okay. So we'll see who goes next. Yeah, this range is typically where I start getting my handcuffs. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. We'll showcase the rosters. That way you guys can send over your opinions or your feedback on who you think had the better draft. Let's see if I'm being objective here. Let me see. Yeah, this is a good roster. I like Daniels a lot. Do love that Tajee Spears there, considering that Pollard is someone that may not even pan out. And I know there was a lot of hype originally with Tajee taking over. This one is a little concerning. Jason's running back room is a little bit worrisome. He has Derrick Henry, Mostert, and Jalen Warren. Let's see who he gets here. We just saw J.K. Dobbins go off the board. Let's see who Jason gets. He does have 2 quarterbacks. So Jared Goff, solid in fantasy. Has Anthony Richardson there. So, I mean, you can probably add some running back upside there with Richardson as well. All right, let me go down so you guys can see it. Okay, now we see Justin Tucker, Zach Charbonnet, who I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers go off the board. That's Daniel's second quarterback, forgive me. Now we're seeing kickers come out of here. So let me start getting my kicker set up. I've been doing Dynasty, so I haven't really been drafting kickers or defenses in a while. So let me see who we got. Oh, here's a kicker too. Here's a kicker too, pun intended. If you're looking for being able to leverage like which kickers you should get a kicker that's in a really good offense. So your Kansas City, Eagles, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Well, I don't know if Buffalo's going to be all that explosive this year, but get your hands on a team that is going to score a lot of points. It's going to give their kickers a lot of opportunities here. So, okay, after we see Jerome Ford, I'm going to go ahead and get my kicker here, and I got to go for the home pick. I'm an Eagles fan. I got to go with Jake Elliott. Taking Jake. Jake Elliott on my roster. Then we see Bass. We see Young Ho Koo. We see Nope Nate coming up for his final 2 picks. And the CPU will round it out over there for team 1 and 2. And then we'll come back around for the 15th and final round. That wasn't too bad. That was pretty quick. I thought it was going to be a little bit more treacherous, but it wasn't too bad. And so we see if there's a way that I can show the whole rosters too, so you guys can see. Okay, we see Carlson, Sanders, McManus. We see the Dolphins, Patriots. At this point, the defense being the last pick. One tip I'd say is find out who's playing in week 1 and see if there's a matchup that you can leverage and really take advantage of there. Thanks for the invite. No worries. We'll have more throughout the offseason. So, yep, just like I said in that, if you guys ever want to join the Discord, all that information can be found in the description below. So that way you can be a part of it. Make my final pick here. And I'm going to I like Washington's defense. See Tennessee there. Let's go ahead and go Washington to round it out. So let me go ahead and see if I can share this entire screen. Well, actually, we'll wait until these last picks so that way everyone can get a shot. And let me see. Can you all see? That's just fine. Yeah, you can. Okay, I was worried that you guys couldn't see. But it looks like you can. So yeah, if you're right now watching live on YouTube, please hit the like button, please. It'll help out with the algorithm. It'll help support your boy. All right, cool. Let me make sure this is up and running. Yeah, we have 0 likes on the video. Help your boy out. Get a like in there for me. Help support your boy out here. Okay, cool. So let me see. Let me go back to the draft. Daniel's up. We got the Vikings off the board, and we'll see who he goes with his last pick. And that will round out the draft. But yeah, I mean, look at my roster. I feel pretty good with it. Got Lamar Jackson, Bijan, JT, DJ Moore, and Pickens as my wide receivers 1 and 2. I'm not all that excited about it, but I do like the fact that I made up for it with Travis Kelce and Lamar Jackson as my quarterback and my tight end. And granted, this is a 10-team league, so these teams are pretty loaded. They all should be pretty top heavy, especially in certain positions. So let's see who Daniel goes with for his final pick, unless he's already logged out. But if he did, it's no big deal. But yeah, let me see. And then from there, my bench, I got Deontay, Jonathan Brooks, Adonai Mitchell, Cortland Sutton, Blake Corum. So yeah, just let me know what you guys thought. If that was a solid draft. There it is. Let me see. Cool. So this mock draft is done. Let me see if I can go through. You know what? Let me move my screen a little bit so you can see each of the rosters. Let me go here. All right. We'll go right over here. Okay. Cool. Safe for now. Okay. So what we'll do is, let me scan through each of these teams real fast. All right. So team 1 got Dak Prescott, Devon Achane, Pacheco, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Dalton Schultz, Michael Pittman Jr., James Conner. I'll just go over the starters. That way we can just blitz through it real quick. And then from there, they got slot number 2 with Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Brandon Ayuk, DK Metcalf, Sam Laporta, Roma Dunze, Hollywood Brown. And then from there, let's go ahead and go to team number 3, which was Nope Nate. He got CJ Stroud, Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, David Njoku, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. And let's go ahead and go to team number 4. And that one got Jordan Love, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Evan Ingram, Rashad White, Rashee Rice. And let's go ahead and go to my team. Oh, no, I'm sorry, team 5, and then we'll go to my team. We got Josh Allen, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Devontae Smith, Cooper Kupp, and my team. Yours truly. I want to get as much of your guys' feedback here. I got Lamar Jackson, then went Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, DJ Moore, George Pickens, Travis Kelce, Jordan Addison, and Ramondre Stevenson. And let's go ahead and go to team number 7, see who they got. And team 7 was Mr. David. Oh, sorry, I lost him there. If I can get it to work. All right, cool. David went with Kyler Murray, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Don Kincaid, Malik Neighbors, and Terry McLaurin. After David, we saw Mr. Jason go up, and he won Anthony Richardson, Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr., George Kittle, Stephon Diggs, and Xavier Worthy. And then as we get ready to land the plane, we got slot 9 that took Joel Burrow, Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, Mark Andrews, Jalen Waddle, and Zay Flowers. And then Daniel, to round it out, to put a bow on this mock draft, he went with A.J. Brown. Then he went with Jameer. Oh, let me stop pulling up. Sorry. You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm dealing with over here, right? There we go. He went with Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, A.J. Brown, Tank Dell, Trey McBride, Jaden Reed, and Chris Godwin. So really good stuff here for a first time. Team 10 wins the draft. Really cool. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for being a part of this mock draft. Again, if you guys want to get a template on how to build out your own projections, you can find all that information in the description below. And the best way to do that is to send any donation, whether it's through Cash App, whether it's through Venmo, and that will be the best way to get your hands on that. Any amount gets you that template. Send me an email, or rather send me a message on what's the best way to contact you, whether it's through the comments, if you want to drop your information there, or send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to get you that information so that way you can get your hands on that PPR template projection sheet. And again, thank you so much for joining. If you are looking to join the community that I have here as well, be sure to join my free Discord. We have a lot of fun conversations planned to have on that app. And of course, if you are watching here on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, send a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of the mock draft, and be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information can be found here below in this channel as well. And if you are listening to the audio version of this, be sure to also subscribe and follow the show as well. That's the Ivan Herrera Show. And please leave your best ratings on there as well. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a good night.